From WBBZ-TV Sports, it's time to beat the champ. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Peck and Sue Novoitsky.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Jamestown Bowling Company for this week's special edition of Beat the Champ. My name is Paul Peck, joined by Hall of Fame bowler Sue Novoitsky, and as we always do, and as we wrap up our run here at the wonderful bowling houses of Western New York, we're going to have a little fun this week. It's our Senior Challenge. We've got bowlers ranging in age from 77 to 62. Some of the best seniors from this neck of the woods are going to battle each other out.
Well, it's nice to see the seniors getting out and getting together, and they have the advantage of being retired. They have the advantage of being able to practice more than some of us can. So we'll see what they can do. Yeah, we should have some great bowling. We're going to have a lot of fun here as we come to an end on our month-long stay here in Jamestown. It's been a wonderful couple of weeks for us, and we're going to wrap it up in grand style. It's Beat the Champ special senior exhibition event, and it is coming your way, so let's get rolling. Jim Suckow in the blue shirt on the right and Bob Peterson in the red on the left, and it's going to be Bob who is going to start things off here in our senior showdown here at the Jamestown Bowling Center. Because this is such a big show, Sue, we needed a little extra help, particularly from a couple of guys who may be a little closer to senior bowling than maybe we are. Jim Mee, the owner of the Jamestown Bowling Company, and Paul Nosek from Lucky Lanes in Fredonia have joined us as our guest commentators as you see Bob rattle off a strike on his first throw there. Don't take that personally, gentlemen. That's a sign of respect. How's that sound, Jim? You're buying it?
Well, I'm going to be 60. I'm going to be 60 in 2 months, so you're close.
We understand, Jim, that you didn't make the show, but we'll have you as a guest commentator instead.
I didn't try either.
Oh.
So we've got Jim Mee, as we mentioned, the owner of the Jamestown Bowling Center, Paul Nosek from Lucky Lanes in Fredonia, one of our past spots here on Beat the Champ, and you made the short drive down Route 60 to come join us. Thanks for doing that, and we'll have a little fun here talking about, particularly with our focus on the senior leagues that you guys are both involved in and how important they are to your bowling centers as we watch Bob and Jim continue to bowl well here at the Jamestown Bowling Company. And Jim, tell us a little bit about these guys. You obviously know them. They're part of your senior leagues, and then tell us a little bit about what you've got going that's available for the seniors.
Okay, well, these two gentlemen, they bowl a couple times a week in our, we have a thing called Coffee Bowl. They come in, they pay a certain amount of money. We put in a colored pin. If they throw a strike on a colored pin, they win money. Throw a double, win money. So it's kind of more of a, not a league per se, but more of a fun type senior outing. Coffee, donuts, that kind of thing. And then, but we do have traditional senior leagues. 3 or 4 in a team. In the summertime, just Mondays for the regular league, but in the wintertime, Monday, Thursday, Friday. So.
Boy, coffee and donuts. Are we eligible for that? We don't have to be seniors. That sounds like it's a lot of fun too. Paul, what do you got going down there at Lucky Lanes for some of the senior bowlers as well?
We have some of our seniors do still bowl in regular leagues, but we have a Wednesday afternoon group that's come for many years, and it's kind of informal. It's not really a set in stone league, but it's just come and get a little exercise and have a little fun, and it's a great group, and we always welcome new members to that as well.
How about the strike we just saw there from Bob Peterson, who is celebrating his birthday today? How about that as we tape the show? So Bob's knocking pins down to celebrate his birthday, and 77 years old, retired from Gerry, New York, just up the road here from Jamestown, and been bowling for over 50 years. Good for Bob. That's fantastic. Tell me a little bit about the form that you're seeing there, Sue.
Well, it looks like he's probably been bowling for a very long time. He's got good form, fundamentally correct.
You got to watch out for these seniors because they're so steady bowlers, and they're just like golfers. They'll just lull you into a false sense of security and whip you.
Yeah, as I said, they have an opportunity to practice more times than we have an opportunity to practice sometimes.
That's right. It's a nice thing about being retired. You can devote a little more time to bowling, right? Almost the spare there, and a good throw from Bob as he almost knocked that one off. And now we turn things back over to Jim Suckow. But it's 62 years old. Sorry about that, Sue. 62 years old from Frewsburg, New York, a retired mailman from Warren, Pennsylvania. And he's delivering the mail on that one as he knocks them all down. A 188 average for Jim.
Nice shot there. That's very impressive. But it's
I know it's nice for the seniors to have a place together. There's a lot of community there, a lot of social. It gives them social time.
Absolutely. It's
And I know
definitely a
we
social
see it
thing.
also at Transit, where they tend to have their banquets, they tend to have their Christmas parties more so than other leagues do, and it's just more ability for them to socialize, which is nice.
Another strike for Jim. Hey, Jim, is there any adjustments that the seniors have to make, that maybe they can't do some of the same things that they could? I mean, bowling's great in that you can do it no matter what age you are, but what kind of adjustments does a senior bowler have to make a little bit as maybe some of the things he could do when he was in his 30s they can't do now necessarily?
Well, the thing I try to do, I see a lot of seniors are still trying to throw a ball that's too heavy for them. So I try to get them into, some lighter equipment and something that doesn't hook too much because their ball speed's not what it used to be. So, just something they can handle and not hurt themselves and just go out there and have fun with it.
Paul, are the ability to read the lanes and make adjustments still the same for these guys at this level too?
As Jim said, it's a little different because the ball speed's slower, but with the technological developments in bowling equipment in the last 10 years, it still allows them to create angle into the pocket and still have a relatively good chance of scoring well.
Bob Peterson almost grabbing that little baby split there, almost got it. So we've still got a tight match here between Jim and Bob. Jim was our number 1 qualifier, Bob our number 4 qualifier, and then in our next match 2 and 3, and then the winner will take on the winner of this match. So there you get a good look at Bob.
Still has good ball speed.
Very
good shot.
Good results. How about that?
I think that some of the things, most of the time, the bowlers that are still bowling have been athletes all their lives, so they have to deal with knee replacements and hip replacements because they've probably done baseball and everything else as they've been, going through their years. So sometimes it's a little stiffness, their knee bends aren't quite what they were, but it's all stuff you can compensate for, don't you think?
But a lot of people a lot of these guys, and ladies as well, like you say, former athletes, school, and their whole lives competed in different sports. And they're still competitive. They may be older, but they're still competitive.
Absolutely.
And they want to bowl, and they want to do something competitive and fun, and this is a great opportunity for them.
It's a tight 4-pin match right now. Jim holds that slight advantage. We see the guys knocking strikes down all over the place, and that's a good 9-pin on the first throw there for Jim. As he moves into the 6th frame of this match, it's our senior showdown here on Beat the Champ from the Jamestown Bowling Company in Jamestown, New York. And here's going to be Jim to try to grab that spare, and he gets it. This feels like a good time to take a short break. We'll be right back with more action on Beat the Champ. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV. Meanwhile, Bob Peterson ran junior bowling programs around this area of Western New York for 18 years, so he's been involved not only as a participator, but as an organizer, and that's great to see, and these guys making bowling a part of their lives and helping other people make it a part of their lives.
Great shot.
Great shot.
Boy, Bob is knocking them all over the place there. Outstanding. Career high game of 279 for Bob and a high 724 series. And as we mentioned, he's been bowling for well over 50 years.
Fantastic.
Jim, you're right, Jim. The consistency is the thing that jumps out at you.
Yeah, they're making it look easy.
I want to throw it like that when I'm 77.
I agree.
So Jim's got a 23-pin advantage at the moment over Bob, Bob over Jim, and here's Jim. And he'll cut into that advantage there.
Right back.
Do you guys get a kick out of sometimes hanging around these guys that have seen an awful lot, not only in their lives, but in their bowling lives? And, some of these guys, Jim, you mentioned this place has been around since the 60s. Some of these guys may have been here back in those early days, right? Do you get some good stories out of these guys?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They have a lot of good stories.
What's the best one that you can remember off the top of your head? Because you're a little more recent in your involvement here at the Jamestown Bowling Center.
True. You got to let me think a minute here. Caught me off guard on that one.
These guys might not want their secrets out.
That's true.
That's very possible.
How about your gang in Fredonia, Paul? What's the most entertaining thing that you get out of those guys and gals?
I don't know. Is it so much entertaining? It's just the past things that they've witnessed and scores people they've seen bowl and some of the scores they used to have, and obviously it's a higher scoring environment than it used to be years ago. But I mean, averaging 190, back in the 60s or 70s was a lot more than it is now, and they used to do it. You find out that there's some great bowlers from years ago. Wow. Stung a 10.
Great shot.
Yeah, boy, I tell you, Bob Peterson is really rolling right now, putting up some nice scores and knocking a lot of pins down.
But you not only about their bowling scores, but about their lives and what they used to do in their lifetimes. And you find it, I had a gentleman that I had no idea was an Air Force pilot, and I had no idea until somebody said something to me, and they're like, hey, and I talked to him. What a great guy to talk to.
And unable to grab the spare was Bob Peterson. So he'll move into the 9th frame here. Still a tight match between Bob and Jim.
Jim's got a 14-point lead. But it's still anybody's match.
You guys have both been around this sport an awful long time yourselves, and
Nice
and this question is as well asked to you guys as it is to either of these guys. What have been the things that have emerged as the biggest changes in this sport over the last, however you want to say it, 20, 30, 40 years? What are the things that jump out at you guys?
Ball technology.
Yeah, most of the equipment is made out of different material than it was years ago. It kind of automatically hooks out of the box. The lanes are synthetic now. The oils have changed. They're different viscosities. It holds up longer.
The pattern technology that you have to create to combat the way the bowling balls react nowadays, it's a whole different thing than it used to be.
Right, because it used to be rubber balls.
Yeah.
And
Back when I was a kid and started, you'd have to get a track in it to start it to hook, to get a little more hook to it. Now, they're like Jim said, they hook right out of the box.
when I first started, urethane was a big deal.
Yeah.
And I started older than most. But short oil only came about during my college career,
Right.
where the scoring conditions got so much higher.
Back when I first started, it was like soft polyester and softer porous rubber bowling balls. That was like the new thing. And of course, then, like you say, urethane came out, and that was the next revolution.
Right.
You're like, wow, all that. Now you throw a urethane ball, people are like, hey, throw something that hooks.
Yeah.
Reactive urethane.
Reactive urethane.
Good
correct.
strike there for Jim Suckow, and a big one in the 10th frame, as again this remains a tight match between these two outstanding senior bowlers, Jim Suckow and Bob Peterson. And another strike for Jim Suckow. Boy, he is finishing off in grand style here.
And these guys are shooting scores as high as the regular show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And one more for Jim to finish things off.
7-pin gives him the lock on the win, and
Well,
there it
there
is.
you go. So Jim Suckow with an impressive performance, and Bob Peterson's going to get a couple of more, and Bob's been a lot of fun to watch as well too at 77 years old. But the final score is going to go on the board for Jim at 215. And Bob's got a couple of more rolls here. But Jim Suckow, our retired mailman, is going to advance on in our senior showdown here at the Jamestown Bowling Center. So we talk about what things have changed in the past. What's the future? What are the next things that we're going to be talking about in this sport? What are the next changes that you guys see coming down the road?
What could they?
If I knew that, I would be.
Well, you're right, I
investing
guess.
heavily
What do
in
you
it.
think they are? What do you get a sense that it's going to be?
As far as like the bowlers go now, and I'm not sure if you've seen this yet, Paul, but there's new two-handed style,
Yeah, sure.
and that's kind of taken over, especially on the Pro Bowlers Tour. There's 3 or 4 people now that can really dominate. If the lane condition is right for them, it's pretty hard to beat them.
Do you think they're going to let that stay?
I don't know. Our sport's not as strict as like golf is, and they got rid of the anchored putting stroke this year and stuff like that. We seem to take a little more time to decide if something's good for the game.
Right. Well, you saw a great moment of sportsmanship between our two competitors, Jim and Bob. It's a 215-191 win for Jim Suckow over Bob Peterson. Boy, those guys put on an awfully nice show, an impressive performance. We're going to get a chance to talk to both of those guys when we come back. It's our senior showdown here on Beat the Champ from the Jamestown Bowling Company. It's a win for Jim Suckow over Bob Peterson in the first of our senior showdown matches. You were an awful lot of fun to watch. How much do you enjoy this sport?
I enjoy it. I've done it for over 50 years, and we have a nice little coffee bowl here on Tuesdays and Fridays, and good camaraderie, and you throw a gutter ball, nobody laughs at you. So
yeah, well, no, you threw plenty of strikes today, so there's nobody laughing at all. Yeah. And Jim, an impressive performance for him as well, too, huh, so?
Absolutely. As the young guy in this bunch, are you feeling guilty here?
I'm just feeling nervous.
Are you really?
Yeah,
you don't look it.
Well, I'm just glad we both bowled well. I didn't really care who won, but I hoped we would bowl well. And we did, and I'm glad.
Yes, you did. Both guys bowl well.
And
Jim,
happy birthday, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Bob, happy birthday. We're going to get to see a little more of Jim, but first he's going to find out who he's going to bowl. Our next match of the Senior Showdown from here at the Jamestown Bowling Company is next on Beat the Champ. The man in the hat. That's Ed Petransky Jr. versus Jim Elardo, a pair of regulars here at the Jamestown Bowling Company, a couple of retired gentlemen. Ed is 65 years old, Jim is 70, and they will battle in our second match here with a winner to take on Jim Suckow for our Senior Showdown Championship. And here we start things off with Frewsburg, New York's Ed Petransky Jr. Nice even stroke. And a good first start there for Ed. We continue to be joined by our guest color commentators here, Jamestown Bowling Company owner Jim Mee and the owner of Lucky Lanes in Fredonia, Paul Nosek, helping us out here with some of their insights into bowling in the area and some of the senior leagues, and we've talked a little bit about that. And Jim, because again, these are your guys here, you can give us a little scouting report on Ed and Jim here as we get going.
Yes, Ed, he's basically just fairly, I don't think he's been bowling that long, actually. He started showing up for our coffee bowl, and I think now he's in one of our regular senior leagues, whereas Jim has been bowling for quite a few years, used to bowl in the scratch leagues and things of that nature. Now he concentrates a little bit more on the senior stuff.
And there's a good start for Jim Elardo. Well, as you mentioned, Ed Petransky's only been bowling for 3 years, according to what he told us. So it is a bit of a new sport for him, but Jim's been doing it for well over 30 years. Won 20 league championships on 5-man teams in his career. So,
wow.
So yeah, how about that? And Jim said to us before, he goes, I don't smile very much when I bowl, so I don't want you to think I'm mad. I said, it's fierce determination. I said, that's how you describe it. So it's a lot of fun watching these guys, and as Jim and Paul both told us, they've got very active senior leagues at their centers, and the seniors like to stay busy, and they have a little fun with it, and do it in the mornings, and have some coffee, and it's got to be cool for you guys to be around, some really neat, active folks like this.
Oh, absolutely. I personally hope to be in as good a shape and bowling as some of the people I have at my center. I have a woman that's in her 90s that bowls, and I mean, meet a lot of great people, and just they're wonderful to get to know, and like I said, it's exercise, and that's important for them as well, because you don't want to just sit around and do nothing.
It's a 160 average for Ed Petransky at 65 years old, as we mentioned.
Which in itself is pretty impressive for only 3 years of bowling. 160 average.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good, nice, smooth approach and everything. You must have had a good teacher there somewhere along the line, huh, Jim?
Well, I tell you what he does. We have a special every Sunday morning during bowling season. It's 99 cents a game from 9 a.m. till noon. And he's here every Sunday practicing 5 or 6 games, plus whatever he does during the week. So he works at it as a new bowler.
So you're seeing the results there. We got a pretty good match going here between Ed and Jim. There's a look at the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard. Janelle Saban keeping us up to date on all the scores. And don't forget, at the end of our show here, we'll have the Gary Pools Great Grill Giveaway Watch and Win Word. You can go to WBBZ-TV and enter to win a Broil Master H4 Deluxe Gas Grill from Gary Pools and Leisure. Well, we talked a little bit through our run here, Jim, as we wrap up our run here in Jamestown, about all the pretty cool stuff that's going on in this city. And a lot of it is based in the summer, and in the next couple of weeks, things really get exciting with the comedy festival that comes down here. Give us a little sense on some of the changes and some of the development that you're starting to see in this city of Jamestown.
Okay, well, something that really helped, like a few years ago, they built the ice arena, and that brings in a lot of stuff, not just hockey events and things like that, but concerts, all kinds of stuff that we didn't have a venue before that to host any of that stuff. You had to go to Buffalo or Erie to catch anything like that. Also, there's a lot of new places. We have a brewery opening up downtown. The Holiday Inn, which has been closed for a couple years, tried to make it start on a couple different hotel things, and now a group from Buffalo is going to make it a DoubleTree. Supposed to have that done next year, so you got a lot of stuff still going on here with the lake. Bemis Point now we have EBC from Elkaville opened up a new brewery restaurant up there, so things are going pretty good. Things are on the upward trend.
Yeah, well, we forget how close you are to Chautauqua Lake and all the fun summer and the institution and everything else that kind of revolves around this time of year as well too. So there is always a lot going on. How big has a lot of the development that's related to the Lucy Desi Museum and the National Comedy Center that's going to open up next year? And we've talked a little bit about the festival that runs August 4th through the 7th with some pretty big names here. I mean, that's a little bit of a national spot on the map for the city of Jamestown.
Well, definitely. Once we get the Comedy Center done, that should bring, I guess I read somewhere, it's going to bring in like a year, like $23 million in additional, money into the city. So that should help us all out, really, especially here we have, a restaurant and stuff. Hopefully we can gain some of that business along with that. But everybody's excited about it.
Mm-hmm. And again, there's a good lineup. There's always a good lineup every year, but among the talent coming in for the National Comedy Festival and the Lucille Ball Comedy Festival this year, Trevor Noah, the host of The Daily Show, will do a performance. Lewis Black, a very famous and really funny comedian. Brian Regan, an outstanding and really funny guy. And then the Farrelly brothers are here, the producers and directors of great movies like There's Something About Mary, Dumb and Dumber, and everybody's favorite bowling movie, except for Sue, Kingpin, right? And we got to figure out a way to get the Farrelly brothers over here for you to do a little Kingpin tie-in, right, Jim?
Yeah, that would be awesome. If we could get them here, that'd be super.
So we continue to watch Ed right here and Jim battle out in our second match of our senior showdown. Almost the strike pickup there for Ed Petransky as this one continues to be a tight match.
We're going to be back with more Beat the Champ bowling action in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
So Jim will move back in here as he gets set to roll in the 7th frame, coming off a strike. Originally from Russell, Pennsylvania is Jim, but his hometown is now here in Jamestown. Age 70, been bowling for well over 30 years. And bowls regularly right here at the Jamestown Bowling Center.
Lanes are starting to hook a little, so you can see he's going high.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Although he's still got pretty good ball speed for 70.
It's almost like he heard us.
So when will things kick in for you guys a little bit more? When do you get the league started again? When do things kind of get off that summer break time and really start to get back into a roll? Is it around the Labor Day time is generally, Paul, that when things get busy again at Lucky Lanes?
Yeah, we usually have our meetings towards the last week or two of August, and then leagues get rolling right after Labor Day again.
Same for you, Jim? Is that about the time when things get busy here?
But pretty much. I have a couple leagues that might start to catch holidays. They might start before Labor Day, but almost all of them start that week.
So people have about 4 weeks left before they have to start thinking about bowling. I know that's hard to think about, but
Yeah, we're well past sort of the midway point of the summer already here, aren't we?
I know. This goes too fast.
Make it 8. We'll call it 8. Makes everyone feel a little better.
Good strike there for Ed Petransky. And you can see our updated score on the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard. The winner will move on to take on Jim Suckow, who won our first match of the Senior Showdown.
We may have a battle of the gyms.
Yes, we may. And we're going to crown a senior champion here at Jamestown Bowling Company.
What a great shot.
Boy, that's a terrific shot by Ed Petransky.
Ed should
Keeping this
truly
one
be
tight.
commended for this much progress in 3 years.
See, it's never too late to try something new, try something different, right?
No, and practice. It's another testimony to practice as well.
And he gets the fall, and a little pump of the fist there for Jim Elardo. And this one continues to be tight. And those guys putting those strikes on the board. So now here's Jim into the 10th frame. It'll determine who's going to win this one. Yeah, Jim didn't like that one very much, did he?
No, that's making this an even closer match. Jim is actually our more experienced bowler, and he's had as high of an average as 210.
Well, and you can see the skill in some of the shots that we've seen here from Jim.
So we're gonna make our rookie bowler have to come up with a double to win.
So Jim Elardo puts the 182 on the board here. So what does Ed need now to win?
He needs 2 strikes.
2 strikes.
Wow.
Almost.
What a great shot.
Terrific shot.
Too bad. He deserved better there.
Yeah, that was a good ball.
That was an excellent shot under pressure.
Well, we've seen a few of those shots being made here through our run at the Jamestown Bowling Company. We had a great month here and saw some wonderful bowling. And if you've been sticking with us and watching, you saw the terrific run by Chuck Jagozinski and putting the 5 in a row on the board, and then Matt White coming up with a couple to knock them off. But we've seen really good bowling here, and it's been one of the more competitive stops I think we've made so far on Beat the Champ.
Absolutely, it was great shows.
Yeah, and thanks for having us, and thanks for being a great host, Jim. We really enjoyed our time down here, and it was neat to get a chance to see some new bowlers. Some of the guys from this area have had a chance to get on the show and really show off a little bit for all of Western New York.
Well, thank you, and I look forward to having you guys back again.
Absolutely. So Ed Petransky will finish things out here with a 170. So Jim Elardo with a 182 to 170 win. So it's going to be the battle of the gyms in the championship of our senior showdown here on Beat the Champ. Thanks to Paul Nosek from Lucky Lanes in Fredonia and Jim Mee from right here in Jamestown for helping us out along the broadcast. Keep up the good work, guys. Enjoy the rest of your summer. We'll come back and we'll talk to Ed and Jim and preview our championship match when Beat the Champ continues from Jamestown, New York.
Jim Elardo comes up with the 12-pin victory over Ed Petransky Jr. in a terrific match for both of you guys. For you having only been bowling for 3 years, that was awfully impressive. What got you into the sport, and how much are you enjoying it right now?
I'm enjoying it a lot right now because I seem to be improving week to week. I did bowl over my average, and I got those friends over there to blame for getting me into it and dragging me up here to bowl.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. It's keeping you busy, and you're getting pretty good at it as well, too. And this guy's been bowling a lot longer, but you're still getting better as well also.
I know. He said he doesn't smile, but I see a smile on his face.
Well, we saw a little smile, a little fist pump, I think, out of the air at one point, right?
Well, he started only bowling 3 years ago, but I didn't start bowling until I was 38 years old. So I started late.
Well, it hasn't slowed you down very much, and you've got one more match to go as well, too. So we're going to crown a champion. It's the Battle of the Gyms, and that's going to be coming up in our championship match. Ed, enjoy the rest of the summer. Thanks for giving us a chance to meet you and show off your bowling skills.
Thanks.
All right, so we got the championship match of our senior showdown. It's coming up next. We're here at the Jamestown Bowling Company, and you're watching Beat the Champ. Championship match of our senior showdown. Jim Elardo on the left, Jim Suckow in the blue shirt on the right, and we will crown a Jamestown Bowling Company senior showdown champion here. And these guys have both put on impressive performances. Jim coming off his 182 to 170 win over Ed Petransky Jr. And in our first match of the day, it was Jim Suckow with the 215 to 191 win over the birthday boy, Bob Peterson. And here comes Jim Elardo to start things off. And he'll get 8 pins on that first throw. I've been very impressed in watching these guys bowl. Some guys like Jim, who pointed out to us he didn't start bowling until his late 30s, but has been bowling for well over 30 years. Guys like Ed, who've been bowling for 3 years. Jim Suckow has been bowling an awful long time as well, too. So it's just cool to see guys that have kind of dedicated themselves to the sport and are still performing it at a pretty high level.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. They're absolutely bowling at a very high level. Their ball speed's great. They've got high performance equipment. Their approaches are great. They're fundamentally correct. Can't say more about what we're seeing out here today.
There's a nice strike for Jim Suckow, 62 years old, retired mailman from Warren, Pennsylvania, who lives in Frewsburg, whose hometown was Frewsburg, correct me on that, but he's been bowling for well over 50 years. And still active in the sport here amongst the senior leagues at the Jamestown Bowling Company.
This is a very competitive bowler we got here, right here.
Yeah.
Actually, they're both great competitors, definitely.
Yeah, they both are. At Beat the Champ TV and hashtag Beat the Champ are the ways to keep in touch with us on social media and, of course, on the Facebook page. Please like Beat the Champ for all the latest information, updates, qualifying scores. The official rules are now posted on the Facebook page, so if anybody had any questions about the qualifying rules, payouts, all those other things, everything is up there right now and in writing and in black and white, as it, so there's no questioning about anything. All the rules are up there. So make sure you check all that out when you get a chance. And as we wrap up here in Jamestown, we'll take our traveling bowling roadshow up to Lockport, New York, to the legendary Allie Brandt Lanes for next month's series of competitions. And we'll tell you all about the namesake of the lanes,
that's right.
Allie Brandt.
Named
one of the
after
all-time famous bowlers in Western New York, right? And of course, we're going to be up in Niagara County, which was the hometown of one of the most famous, if not the most famous, Beat the Champ bowlers, the legendary Ninangelo. So, of course, Nin's son Brad, a PBA performer who owns his own bowling center, not far from Allie Brandt Lanes in Lockport. So we'll get a good taste of Niagara County history as it relates to the sport of bowling for our next series of shows, which start next week, as our defending champ Matt White will head off against a whole new group of 9 qualifiers for next week's show.
I think that's one of the fun parts about this show is we get to learn a little bit about the history of the places that we're at. And everybody knows Buffalo, and everybody knows all of Tonawanda and all those places. But it's neat to come down here and learn a little bit about Jamestown, New York, and where it's sort of place in history. And, you know, and you think of, we've joked a little bit about this, but some of the famous people that have come from this town. Lucille Ball, the most obvious. But how about NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell is a native of Jamestown, and a Supreme Court Justice, and Robert Jackson, and Natalie Merchant, the lead singer of 10,000 Maniacs. All of them call Jamestown home, and that's pretty cool. Good strike for Jim Suckow, and good reaction as well, too.
Well, you know, it's kind of the cool thing about this new format of Beat the Champ, and, you know, we know it's different than the original format, but all the proprietors are involved, and sometimes, you know, it takes a village to make something go, and so proprietors got together and found a way to put this back on television and give us the advantage of going from place to place and getting a little piece of what makes their business work.
Sure. And I think that's part of the fun for us, is too. I mean, we could be in a TV studio with a couple of bowling alley lanes like we used to do back in the old days, but I think it's pretty cool to take this thing on the road and get a chance to meet new people and open it up to different groups of people. You know, again, I think the nice thing about being down here in Jamestown is we got to see some new names. A couple of guys from Pennsylvania, a couple of guys from this area who maybe couldn't make the trips up to Buffalo to qualify, but hey, it's back in my neck of the woods now, and I'm going to get out there and make sure I get on TV, so.
Absolutely. I think it's a good thing for everybody. And it gives some recognition and exposure to places that some of our fans may not even have known existed.
Hey, and I want to mention that last month, early on in the month of June, you and I had a chance to be guests at the Bowling Proprietors Association Youth Awards Dinner, and it was great to be around some of the next generation of the great young bowlers in Western New York who were honored for some of their performances in the spring, winter, and fall leagues throughout Western New York.
You want to comment on that is just to recognize how involved these youth bowlers are, how they have volunteer accolades. They have things that they do that we were never exposed to when we were their age. And to see how public-minded, how socially minded these kids are, and how involved in the communities these kids are, as well as bowlers, as well as excelling in a sport and excelling in their education. It was pretty impressive to see that.
Yeah, it was, and we had a great time, and it was great. A great event put on by Jim Russo and Brian Borowski, and of course the legendary Whitey Heidenberg, the MC of the event for how many years has Whitey MC'd that thing? About 70 years now, probably, right?
I don't know. When I started bowling, he was our proprietor there at Ideal Lanes, now Kearns Lanes. So
I think Whitey's still telling the same jokes that he told 70 years ago.
I know those guys are pretty entertaining, though.
They are funny, and they're great, and that's the dedication that those guys as the Proprietors Association have towards keeping the sport going, not only for the kids, but being the big support behind this show has been wonderful. We couldn't do it without their help, and we thank them for that.
Absolutely.
So we got another good match going here between a couple of terrific senior bowlers. You're looking at Jim Elardo, and there's Janelle Sabin with the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard. Good spare pickup for Jim Elardo right there. As we get a pair of Jims battling it out right here.
Yep, James and James for the Battle of Jamestown. What do you think?
Very good.
Oh my God, you're rubbing off on me now.
I know. That's both scary and prideful for me. Hey, look at that. Jim's on a roll here. At least all the Jims are on a roll right now.
The action will continue on Beat the Champ in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
At least they're making the day easy on us, Jim and Jim.
So here comes Jim Suckow. And he's matching strike for strike with his buddy Jim Elardo.
He's got a commanding 50-pin lead here, 53 pins to be exact.
You know, you're around bowlers all the time, and your role is in your role at the transit lanes as the the beverage manager and running the bar and the restaurants and stuff. And I'm curious, because you're certainly around the bowlers more than I am on a regular basis. What's been the response that you've heard to Beat the Champ, and how much has it sort of risen up to the point where those guys are starting to take a little pride in being a chance to throw it in somebody else's face that they got more wins than the other guy, and I'm going to beat you this week? And
it's interesting that you asked that, because I don't actually think the bowlers that are competing have any idea how many people are watching this show. I mean, other than our peers who are also bowlers, and yes, they tune in, but the amount of people in the community that have embraced the show and are watching the show. And I go to a hockey game and I'm approached. I was at the Allentown Art Festival last month and I was approached 3 different times. And they're different walks of life, different people, women, men, different ages, all approaching me on Beat the Champ and saying how happy they are to see it back and how entertaining they think that it is. So the people that are bowling are not just bowling in front of their peers, the other bowlers, they're bowling in front of Western New York.
Yeah.
And people are watching.
How do you like being a celebrity?
I'm not quite used to it yet.
It takes a little getting used to. Takes a little getting used to, but you know what? It's
gotta make sure my makeup's on all the time now.
No, that's right. You're right. But I think that's the cool part about Western New York, is we are a big small town, and like you said, people watch the bowling show and they see you at a hockey game. Hey, there's Sue from the bowling show, and they want to talk to you. They want to tell you how much they enjoy the show. They want to give you an anecdote about when they remember watching it as a kid, or they had an uncle or a brother or a friend that was on the show. And it's so great. I've heard, you and I, between the two of us, have heard so many times about how great it was to bring this show back, because everybody that of a certain age remembers this show.
Everybody
when
knows
they were a
something
kid.
About bowling. I mean, at some point in time, somebody's participated in bowling. I mean, not everybody can play hockey, not everybody can play football, but almost everybody can bowl.
Absolutely.
And I know Janelle's had the same experiences, and I know that you have too. I mean, even now you're getting to be known as the bowling guy, which you probably weren't prepared for.
Well, I've said this to you, and I think I've said this on the show before. I feel like in the last 6 months that we've been doing this show, I've heard from as many, if not more, people who want to talk about the bowling show or have watched the bowling show than I did in 25 years of covering the Bills and the Sabres.
That's amazing.
And that's amazing when you think about it. It just tells me how much this sport means to people of Western New York.
That's true. And you brought up the Facebook and you brought up the rules, and of course, this is a new show for everyone, and it's Beat the Champ brought back, but it's still a new Beat the Champ. So we're kind of learning as we go, and we're seeing new things crop up as we've gone along. And I think that WBBZ and the proprietors are really just trying to come up with a fair format for everyone.
Well, and again, as this show has elevated to the point where guys are getting crazy competitive about it, it's not just a little fun thing anymore. Guys really want to win, and that's what sort of prompted making sure that everybody understands the nuts and bolts to qualifying and all that other stuff. Boy, Jim Suckow is on a roll here, and he's got a healthy lead right now, and he may be on his way to getting one of those trophies. And look at the handshake that he gets from his partner, Jim Elardo here, as Jim Suckow is really rolling and putting on quite the show for us.
Well, he's going to post a 230 plus score, which is no different than any score we see from any of the bowlers.
No.
238.
A 238 on the board for Jim Suckow, and that is
the guy who told us he was nervous?
Yeah, that is an outstanding score. I don't care who or what or when or where you're bowling. So Jim Mee's senior leagues are in good hands here at the Jamestown Bowling Center. If they've got good guys like this battling out, like Jim Elardo and Ed Petransky and Bob Peterson and Jim Suckow, they have been an awful lot of fun to watch, and that's what makes this show, that's what makes these sort of exhibition matches, for lack of a better word, an awful lot of fun. Not only for you guys to watch at home, but for us to be a part of as well, too.
Right, and it gives us an opportunity to definitely showcase the area and showcase the communities and let people know to support their local bowling centers, to consider going to the restaurants, to their bars for food and beverage, that they really do have more to offer than just, fries and pizza.
Absolutely. If you're going to take a little summer trip down to Chautauqua Lake or whatever, make sure you stop here to grab a little prime rib.
I know, we just can't say enough about it.
Sports Bar and Grill. There's a nice strike for Jim Elardo.
That's a good way to end this.
Yeah. So it's a 152 on the board for Jim, a 238 for Jim Suckow, and a terrific championship match and exchange of handshakes that you can see. What a great way to wrap up a wonderful month here at the Jamestown Bowling Company. We'll talk to the Jims about the final match and wrap things up from here in Jamestown when we come back. It's Beat the Champ in the Southern Tier in Jamestown, New York. We're back right after this. Well, Jim Suckow's 238 to 152 win over Jim Elardo. That 238 was one of the best scores we had out of anybody here in our run at the Jamestown Bowling Company. Unfortunately, you ran into a pretty hot guy, didn't you?
I ran into a tiger. You know, these lefties always give the righties a hard time, you know. But when you miss a couple easy spares to begin with right off the bat.
Yeah, well, you got nothing to worry about. It was an impressive chance to watch you bowl and keep up the good work here and, and keep up the good spirits as well, too.
It was fun. Had a good time.
Well, good. That's the most important thing. It was fun.
Well, Jim, you made me forget that this was a special edition show. I thought I was watching the normal show. It was awesome bowling today.
Well, don't watch me the next time I bowl. 'Cause
No.
It's not going to happen every time.
All right, well, take a
Look at
little
this
hardware
trophy.
there, Jim. So a big Beat the Champ trophy for Jim Suckow on his win here. And for both of these guys, we're going to give them a couple of tickets to the upcoming Lucille Ball Comedy Festival here in Jamestown, which comes up in early August, so you guys can enjoy that. I know that's a big event down here in your neck of the woods. Thank you guys for being part of a wonderful senior showdown here. You guys made both you and everybody in the senior leagues proud.
Okay,
So the Jims put on a good show. Sue and I will come back and wrap up our month-long stay here in Jamestown when Beat the Champ continues right after this. Well, I'm kind of sorry to leave Jamestown. We had a wonderful run here, from the outstanding performances of Chuck Jagosinski to the impressive final wrap-up there by Matt White to these senior guys that were really terrific. We had a wonderful time here.
Yes, we'd like to thank Jim Mee for his hospitality here. We really had a great time getting to know him, the business, their great bar and restaurant, and meeting their bowlers. It was really a great month here.
Yeah, and getting a chance to experience all that Jamestown has. It's not all that far from Buffalo, so if you're looking for a nice little getaway and a nice day, this is a good place to come down to. Meanwhile, we'll head about an hour's from Buffalo the other way, roughly, because next week we pick up our competitions again and we move up to Lockport, New York at Alley Brandt Lanes.
That's right. And like you said, there'll be a lot of history there. We're going to Alley Brandt. We have a lot to talk about with that, and I'm sure you'll do a lot of homework on other things to find out about that area.
I will be ready for you. I will be ready and will be ready for what should be some more terrific bowling on Beat the Champ. For the entire crew at WBBZ, for Hall of Fame bowler Sue Navoyski, my name is Paul Peck. Continue to enjoy your summer. We'll see you next week from Lockport on Beat the Champ.